Did you know that it is illegal to send someone to war without a gun? Not illegal, but in some countries, I think the States it is. You can't send someone to war without being prepared. So what is war? War is when you have a negative force you perceive coming towards you, and you are, let's say, the positive force, and they're attacking you in some way or another, and you're trying to repel them back, and you want to defend yourself, as long as you're not attacking, basically. So it's very important. We know in life, everybody has wars, everyone has problems. We all know this. And throughout history, everyone's had it as well. But there's something else. It's called spiritual war. And we humans, I believe, we are in a spiritual war. And so therefore, if it is against human rights to send someone to war without a gun to defend themselves, and we are at war, but an invisible war, then surely it should be illegal. Surely there should be some sort of discussion about sending children into the world without them having some sort of armory, without them having some sort of protection enabled to defend themselves. And so if you're going into something like this world and there is a spiritual war against drugs, against I don't know, I'm not allowed to say it, but about changing your about stealing, about lying, about your government, about your politics, about the police, about abuse, about all of these things. All of these things are negative energies, or the news. It's all negative energies that encroach upon your life. And so you need to have some sort of ability to push it back, to defend yourself, to defend your sanity, to defend your brain, in order to be able to think, in order not to have confusion. Because when you have too many thoughts, when there are too much energy, what happens? You get depression, you get confused, you don't know what you're doing, you can commit crimes, you can go towards drugs, you can hang out with the wrong people, you can say the wrong things, you can cheat. You can cause a lot of problems to yourself and your wife by cheating, by saying the wrong thing, by not respecting them properly, by speaking them bad to them properly, by not having your life in order, by thinking that the system should help you. There's all sorts of a plethora of different energies and ideas that encroach onto your life. And so you yourself, you need to have some sort of ability to thwart, to stop, to defend yourself. And so what are they? What are they? And you're never told that. Now, if you're religious, you'll have a couple of spiritual tools, for instance, meditation or prayer or worship or something like that. If you go towards shamanism, you've got some other tools, for instance, magic, for instance, plant medicine, for instance, gods, for instance, animals or birds or plants, something that you have allegiances to or something that you can ally with, not allegiances. You don't want to praise something, you only want to praise the number one. First commandment, there is only one. Second commandment, there are no idols. So you need to be aware that there's only one, but you can have friends, you can have people that help you out, things, entities, energies and stuff like this. And so my very short video is about, if we don't let people go physically into a war without proper help and protection, then why do we allow children? We don't teach them at school. We don't give them spiritual practices unless you're a religious person or a Buddhist or a shaman or something like this. So why don't we help our children out? And so when our children become effed up and they go to prison and they've got loads of mental problems and they're in mental hospitals and they're on medication, whose problem is that? Whose fault is that? Because as a parent, we have a responsibility to teach our children. We have a responsibility to teach our children. Fifth commandment, it says, thou shalt obey thy mother and thy father. But the mother and father need to have a covenant with God. What does that mean in non-Christian terms? It means that the mother and the father should be adept and prepared people in order to navigate and guide themselves and their children through life without disturbance or too much disturbance. And so you have a responsibility as an adult to pass that on to the child, which was thought as something normal in the days gone by in I don't know, 5,000, 2,000, 1,000 years ago. And so the children, you had to obey the parent because the parent was the intermediary between you and God. When you're very young, you don't understand God, so you need a parent in order to help you understand God. So obeying a wise person is going to help you get through that problem. But are the parents wise now? Are the old people wise? If the old people are so wise, then why are they all in old people's homes? Yeah, surely if we had a society full of Socrates, Plato's, Aristotle's, Pythagoras's, we wouldn't keep them in old people's homes. The reason they're in old people's homes is because maybe they failed. There's been a failure. You know, if you go to an old person, you seek wisdom. That's not to say that all old people have wisdom, but time does give its own wisdom. But I think that investing your whole life into a pension rather than into life, as in life, it does sort of thwart your progress. So I do think that there is a couple of issues on both sides there. So as a parent, I think that you need to make sure and instill into your children that they have an ability to defend themselves. And if school doesn't help, which it doesn't, then the parent has a responsibility to figure it out. Thanks very much.